Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Borlaug Global Rust Initiative 2020 Jeanie Borlaug Laube Women in Triticum Early Career Award and Mentor Award celebration. Today, we're focusing on the changing face of leadership and research in wheat. I'm Marisa Acevedo. I'm a plant pathologist and a 2010 Women in Triticum Early Career Awardee. We come together today to celebrate the changes we're witnessing for a more inclusive and diverse environment for leadership and research in the world of wheat. In our quest for diversity and inclusiveness, we're talking in terms of gender, age, ethnicity, race, abilities, and much more. Especially today, we want to recognize and celebrate the amazing talents of early career women scientists who are working in wheat breeding, pathology, surveillance, statistics, extension and outreach, and other associated disciplines. We also want to recognize those mentors who go the extra mile in their programs and institutions to provide an environment where all scientists, and especially women and other underrepresented groups, feel welcome, supported, and empowered. We have a great program today and some very, very special speakers and guests. Jeanie Borlaug Laube, the chair of the BGRI, is co-hosting this event with me, joining us from her sunny home in Dallas, Texas. Barbara Stinson, president of the World Food Prize, is our keynote speaker and is joining us from the Hall of Laureates at the World Food Prize headquarters in Des Moines, Iowa. Joining us from the Borlaug Global Rust Initiative headquarters here at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, we have Dr. Sarah Avenger, director of the Alliance for Science, and Dr. Holly Ann Tufan, 2010 WHEAT Awardee, director of the Gender Responsive Researchers equipped for Agricultural Research Transformation, great, and recipient of the 2019 Borlaug Field Award. We're highlighting the work and passion of our 2020 Triticum awardees who come to us from India, Germany, Uruguay, Ethiopia, China, Australia via video. We also have a selected panel of previous WHEAT awardees joining us from US, Kenya, Tunisia, and the UK. We also have in the audience many awardees, previous WHEAT awardees, the BGRI scientists and collaborators. Thank you all of you for joining us today. It is a pleasure to be here sharing this wonderful opportunity with you. As we start, I want to recognize the enormous support we have received for the Women in Triticum program from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the UKA through the UK Department for International Development. Now, I would like to give the spotlight to Dr. Sarah Avenger to share with us some thoughts about the history and legacy of the BGRI WHEAT Award program. Sarah?
Thank you, Maricelis. Hello, world. It's so nice to be here. My name is Sarah Avenger, and I currently serve as director of the Cornell Alliance for Science at Cornell University. And until 2016, I served as the senior associate director of the Durable Rust Resistance in Wheat project under the BGRI. And I think that this is the first time that I've ever been asked to comment on the history of anything. I'm usually one who is very much looking forward to the future. But being a member of the team that launched the Women in Triticum Awards was the highlight of my efforts to lead and influence the DRW project. And so it's a real honor to be invited to this program again. As a woman who leads a program in the agricultural sector, I, like many of you, am part of the decade's changing face of leadership and research. And I am passionate about empowering diverse coalitions of people. So I joined the wheat community in mid-2008 when the Durable Rust Resistance in Wheat project was first funded by the Gates Foundation. And as a few of the old guard would regularly point out to me over the next few years, I was not a wheat breeder. I came from a basic plant science background and I had attended more Arabidopsis meetings than wheat meetings. In March 2009, I was at the first Borlaug Global Rust Initiative meeting held in Obregon in Mexico. And those of you who attended that meeting and that workshop will remember how special it was because Dr. Norman Borlaug was there. And sadly, he passed away that fall. That workshop was memorable for me because at one point, I literally fell off my chair in the middle of a session, which was very embarrassing. But I also experienced a most memorable trip to the bathroom. So I'm a planner, and at the first morning of the conference, I thought, oh, I'll be smart and I'll go to use the women's room before the coffee break to beat the rush, as it were. When I returned from the bathroom in record time and sat down, and that may actually be at the point at which I fell off my chair, it occurred to me there would be no line for the women's bathroom at this conference. And why? There were far too few women present. So today is Thursday, and I wanted to share a throwback Thursday moment from that meeting in 2009. So you've heard of manels, right? Panels with all male speakers. Well, look at the size of this manel. Wow, 13 mans wide. A single woman. No more. Not at the BGRI of 2020. Over the next couple of years, a group of us set out to do something about the underrepresentation of women in wheat. It was time to diversify the face of leadership and scientific endeavor in wheat research around the world. And to do that, we needed not only to recruit women in wheat, but we needed to retain them in their communities so that they could serve as models and mentors for women to come. The idea for the WIT Award came during a brainstorm session with a very special and committed woman, Dr. Catherine Kahn, who served as our program officer at the Gates Foundation. And she did so much to support the entire wheat community. She was and still is a champion for the underdog, for underrepresented scientists and smallholder farmers, and those with so many great ideas, but don't have access to a seat at the table. So that day we were in a break room at the old Gates Foundation building in Seattle on a quiet bank holiday, and we were brainstorming. We wanted to establish an award that would elevate women working in wheat. We wanted to shine a spotlight on them and recognize their leadership. We would name it not after Dr. Borlaug, but after the chair of the BGRI, his daughter, Jeanie Borlaug Laube. And we would call it, wait for it, the WOW Award, Women of Wheat. Those of you who know Kathy know that she loves a good acronym. But when we presented this idea to Ronnie, he sort of grimaced. WOW brought about unfavorable associations, he suggested, and it just didn't have enough gravitas. When we turned to Latin, the Women in Triticum, or WIT Award, was born. An even better acronym to describe the mental sharpness of the 55 women and 10 mentors who have received this award over the past 10 years. Here are the members of the first and second cohort, or some of the members of the Women in Triticum Award winners in Obregon in 2011. And I am so lucky that I get to work with two of them every day at Cornell, Dr. Tufan and Dr. Acevedo. So I have a very clear memory of this group huddled around a picnic table in Obregon. They might have been taking a break from their fieldwork, maybe they were having their lunch, but I remember that they were deep in a very energetic conversation when I approached the table. And I remember hearing Holly provoking her colleagues, sort of saying, as WIT Award winners, we need to give back. How can we give back to the community, and how can we do our part to diversify women working in wheat? And a decade later, it is so inspiring to hear how each of these 55 winners of the award has given back as mentors, as thought leaders in gender and agriculture, as our nation's top breeders, as mothers, and as new faces leading agricultural science. Now, the wheat community has many new faces. In 2009, at that first BGRI meeting, there were 30 women registered, many of them actually running the conference. At the last meeting that I attended, that number was up to about 33% women. And at that last meeting that I attended, I was so pleased because I did have to wait in line to use the women's room. Fast forward, by 2014, Dr. Tufan and I had the opportunity to work together as colleagues at Cornell. We wanted to grow an initiative that would recognize the important role that women play in agriculture. We launched a cross-cutting initiative called AWARE, Advancing Women in Agriculture Through Research and Education, an initiative that recognizes that women hold the greatest potential to make significant impacts in agricultural development. And when Ronnie Kaufman received the inaugural World Agriculture Prize, he contributed all of his prize money to establish an endowment for AWARE that continues today to grow and change lives. Ronnie has been a real champion in diversifying the face of agricultural research and leadership. And gender and diversity, responsiveness continue to be an important focus today at Cornell. There are so many challenges ahead of us in this next decade, challenges that do not respect international boundaries. And to meet them equitably for all, we all need to come together to address issues like wheat diseases, human viruses, safe, nutritious food for all. And we all need to pay it forward in a very big way. I know that with the grit and the wit of these winners, we will persevere. Whether we're at the helm of a research group, in a public, private, or nonprofit agricultural organization, at the front lines, in the middle of the pack, or leading from behind, we will accomplish great work. We all must excel, whether in the field, in labs, in research, in teaching and outreach, as leaders of organizations like the BGRI, or GREAT, our own College of Agriculture at Cornell, or the World Food Prize. The world is changing, and so too is the face of agricultural research and leadership. Thank you all for your efforts now and in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, there was a little lag there. This was a great message, and it reminds me of a few years ago when we were again starting in this community, and how fascinated I was of the energy that was coming up from this group of women. So I'm very proud to be a WIT awardee, and like you say, giving back to our community is one of my major pleasures. So as you heard from Sarah, since 2010, we have recognized the talent and leadership of 55 early career WIT awardees. And these are women that are postdoc, are students, are assistant professors, starting their career with a lot of energy and a lot of hope about their future of their careers, and 10 mentors that go the extra mile every day. Our 2020 early career awardees are Anna Bacchus from the Jeanie Center in the UK, Bharti Pandey from India, Yubdar Ishetu Shiwai from Ethiopia, Paula Silva from Uruguay, and Pepe Zhang from China. And our 2020 WIT Mentor Award goes to Dr. Evans Laguda. Jeanie, I would like you to please share with us what this award means to you and to the Borlaug family.
Good morning. Thank you, Sarah, for a great speech about our WIT program. So exciting. And I want to thank you, Maricelis, Ronnie Kaufman, and the Borlaug Global Rust Initiative for giving me the opportunity As most of you know, I am Jeanie Borlaug Laube, the daughter of Norman and Margaret Borlaug. And I was raised in Mexico City along with my brother Bill. My father was recognized for his profound impact on humanity through his fight against hunger and poverty. His tools were the modern tools of agricultural science. His mode of operations were collaboration and mentorship. He was tenacious in his focus, bold in his ambitions, and tireless in his pursuit. Where others saw impossible, my father saw possibilities. He worked and fought for his ideal vision of a world without hunger and poverty. I always say my dad was three things: a scientist, a humanitarian, a teacher, mentor. He mentored thousands of young scientists from across the globe. Since my dad's death in 2009, I have retired from 40 years of teaching and become involved with several of my father's organizations. One of these is the Borlaug Global Rust Initiative, or the BGRI, out of Cornell University, of which I am chair and member of the executive committee. As Sarah has told you, the BGRI created the annual Women in Triticum Awards for women in their early career working on triticum. Since 2010, we have honored 55 promising women who have demonstrated leadership potential and commitment to and for agricultural development. My father felt particularly passionate about mentoring young people working in triticum. Since 2010, the BGRI has awarded 10 WIT members mentor awards. My father would be very proud of you all. If he were here, he would tell you, each of you, that you are the future. You are the future hunger fighters who will be called upon to come up with the next solution for global hunger, global food security. This year, we have all felt the insecurities of life as we have known it. There will be 9 to 10 billion people on this planet to feed by 2050. Thank you all for joining the army of hunger fighters. Stay strong. We need to be the voices of positive change during these difficult times. On behalf of my father, my mother, and all of the members of the Borlaug family, I extend my warmest congratulations to the 2020 winners of the Jeanie Borlaug Laube Women in Triticum Early Career and Mentor Awards. And hopefully I will get to meet all of you sometime soon. Join me in watching the following video as we hear from all the awardees about their work and passion for wheat. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Bharti Pandey. I'm working as a scientific officer at Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, India. It's great privilege and great honor to be selected for this very prestigious award, which is an absolute encouragement to me and to all the women scientists of India. However, it has also entrusted me with responsibility to inspire more women to enter in the field of agriculture, science and research, which will also hone their teamwork and leadership skills. I've been involved in research for more than 10 years and I started working on wheat when I joined Indian Institute of Wheat and Barley Research Center situated at Karnal, India in 2009. We worked on various aspects of wheat genomics and its pathogen using computational and molecular biology, and also developed wheat information system which has a very comprehensive information and data regarding Indian wheat varieties. I enjoy planning the experiments, analyzing and drawing conclusions from the data, and also contributing towards the new research frontiers through collaborative innovation and knowledge exchange. Again, it's a matter of great pride and motivation for me to be a part of WIT family. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hi, my name is Paula Silva and I am originally from Uruguay. Currently, I am a PhD candidate at Kansas State University working with Jesse Poland. My PhD is focused on studying the genetic basis of resistance of economically important diseases affecting wheat production worldwide, such as dull yellow dwarf, wheat blast, and wheat chromite. For that, I work with breeding germplasm, different mapping populations, wild relatives, and I apply high-throughput phenotyping tools. In addition, I am a researcher at the National Agricultural Research Institute in Uruguay, where I work doing wheat breeding for disease resistance, mainly rusts, and I also lead the precision phenotypic platform for wheat diseases in collaboration with CIMMYT. I love crop genetics and breeding because you can see the real-world impact of your work in the plants and in the fields. Also, the enthusiasm from the global network of scientists excites me a lot, and I like learning about the research discovery of others. I am passionate about agricultural science because it has the power to increase food production and allows a regular person like me to contribute to improving people's life. I think that by being a scientist in agriculture-related topics, I can contribute to food security and join many other researchers' efforts to help the people that need the most. I want to thank the BGRI for this award and congratulate all the other Women in Triticum winners. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, my name is Anna and I'm sending this video from a family home in Germany where I've been in home office since our return from Mexico. Currently, I'm a second-year PhD student at the John Innes Center in the UK, supervised by Cristobal Uwawi. In my project, I'm exploiting newly available technologies to investigate the genetic networks and control of spike development. Furthermore, I am also phenotyping and genotyping a collection of wheatland races that have a wealth of diversity hidden in their joint genomes we hope to be available to breeding. Today we are faced with a big challenge to increase crop yields in an inevitable harsher future. Innovation coming out of wheat research and breeding will be our best hope to tackle this challenge and to stabilize global wheat stocks. I think the current pandemic of COVID-19 has reminded us just how fragile our global system can be. I hope that throughout my life, I will help at least a little bit to stabilize our global world by working towards increased food security. And thanks, of course, to the organizers of this meeting and to the BGRI for giving me the opportunities I had through being a WIT awardee of 2020.
Hi there, I am Shwali from Ethiopia. I am working as a wheat breeder at Ethiopian Institute of Agriculture Research, based at Debre ዘይት Agricultural Research Center. Most of my responsibilities improving wheat grain yield through developing disease-resistant, drought-tolerant, and also heat-tolerant with good quality, and also demonstrating and promoting high yielding and improved variety in the farmer field. I'm very passionate in my job. After I joined the university to do my undergraduate degree, I got a chance to visit different parts of the country that grow different kinds of crop. From those crops that I have visited, wheat was one of them. At that time, the farmer was worried about rust disease. My visit was in 2010. At that time, there was a high striped rust epidemic and up to 100% yield loss. So when I see this, I used to be one of a person who solves this problem, and I become very interested in agriculture, especially breeding and pathology part. I was lucky. After a few months, I graduated and joined the research institution. After I joined the research institution, I have participated different international workshops like BGRI. So it increased my passion to serve as a frontline warrior against wheat production and productivity problem, and also it increased my desire to apply wheat green revolution in starving nation like Ethiopia. So this is in short about me. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hi, I'm Peipei Zhang from China. I obtained my PhD in plant pathology from Hebei Agricultural University in July 2019, and now I'm still working there. During my PhD study, I worked as a joint PhD student in CIMMYT in Dr. Ravi Singh's research group with Dr. Sridhar Babani and Dr. Caixia Lan for 1 year. When I was in CIMMYT, I participated in the systematic wheat breeding and research methods. My research work focused on wheat rust genetics, especially on gene discovery for resistance to both to leaf rust and strip rust, using QTL mapping and genome-wide association mapping and map-based cloning of leaf rust resistance genes. I identified some potential new genes, and the close-linked markers of these genes can be used in markers assistant selection and wheat breeding program. During early stage of my undergraduate study, the story of Dr. Norman Borlaug fighting with hunger moved me. His beautiful and strong message drove me to work on wheat rust. His warning that rust never sleeps still inspires world's wheat warriors to combat with wheat rust. I'm proud to be a member of wheat researchers in China. I hope I will be able to transform my research outcomes to benefit millions of smallholder farmers in China and other countries to reduce yield losses due to wheat rust disease. Thanks for your listening. Goodbye.
Hello, I'm Evans Laguda, a research scientist with CSIRO, Australia's National Science Agency. I'm also an adjunct professor with the University of Sydney. Incidentally, it's the institute where I got to supervise my first female PhD student in the late 80s. I also got introduced to work on the wild wheat relatives by the late Gerald Halloran. And since then, I've seen how much this field has built up, starting with the early work of the likes of Strampelli, Norman Borlaug, Annie Sears, Rosalind Morris, and a number of people. Today, we have the complete wheat genome, the pan genome, the incredible opportunity that it offers a lot of younger scientists to be able to explore the basic biology of wheat, and also bearing in mind its translational outcomes. It's also been a wonderful privilege for me to work with a number of women scientists engaged in the field of wheat research, some who have come into my lab as undergraduates, some as exchange students, postgraduates, some as postdocs, and others who have gone on as early career scientists and have established their own labs. The invitations I've had to experience firsthand some of the tremendous work that they're doing, basically across just about every continent where wheat is grown. So I'm really thankful to be able to work in close collaboration with a lot of these women in science. Thanks.
Wow, like Sarah will say, no? I hope you are as impressed as I am with the 2020 awardees. As you can tell, the future of wheat is in really, really good hands. Congratulations to all again. We are enormously proud of all of you. And now I would like to hand the program to Barbara Stinson, President of the World Food Prize. This will be an interactive portion of our event. So if you have any questions, please put them on the chat. Barbara is going to be talking about the importance of gender in assuring global food security. Barbara will answer a few questions at the end. So please, again, add those questions to the chat. Barbara? Here we are.
There we go. Thank you. I was waiting for the unmute. Well, greetings, everyone. Thank you so much, Marcellus, Jeanie. Congratulations to our awardees. What a fantastic group of women, and our mentor as well. It's a tremendous honor to be celebrating the accomplishments of women leaders in agriculture, really trying to recognize the changing face of leadership in research and wheat especially. It's exciting for me today to be presenting also with our 2019 Borlaug Field Award winner, Dr. Holly Ann Tufan. So I'm honored to be with you as the new president of the World Food Prize Foundation. We recognize and elevate the work of those feeding the world, such as we've just seen. Today, I want to speak to several issues. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, my own background, and the mentoring I've enjoyed, a little bit about the World Food Prize and where I think we're headed with regard to agriculture and food systems, and particularly the critical role of women in agriculture. Next slide, please. So I've begun my tenure at the World Food Prize Foundation just in January, and what turned out to be a rather auspicious time to assume a new leadership role, and also an interesting time to move to Iowa. But it's been fantastic, and in so many ways. Unfortunately, it is such a difficult time worldwide. I have to say, in my time, though, I've been so impressed by how many leaders are stepping forward in support of global partnerships and how many of them are women. So despite a looming economic downturn and a potential global food crisis, there are many bright spots in our future. And I think many of them are being carved by women. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those today. So a little bit about my background. I worked for 30 years in public policy as a collaborative planner and a problem solver. I convened multi-party meetings all over the world trying to address some of the most challenging agriculture and food safety issues, including in Africa, aflatoxin management. My goal was to try to solve problems, form new partnerships, build institutions. And after 22 years, co-founding Meridian Institute with a lot of partners, and along the way, I have been inspired by so many amazing women. So I just want to mention two of those. Next slide, please. So here you have Arlene Mitchell. She's currently the CEO of the Global Child Nutrition Foundation, formerly one of the directors of the World Food Program, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Ag Development Director. And over 10 years ago, Arlene and I began to work together to tackle the aflatoxin challenge in Africa. Arlene led me into a major project with unusual vision and fortitude, against all the advice of her colleagues, that we could move the needle of trying to address food safety needs on the continent of Africa. Arlene ignites passion and wisdom in all those working around her. She takes on the toughest challenges, and she inspired me to do this as well at the Partnership for Aflatoxin Control in Africa. And I'm just so fortunate she remains one of my guides and mentors today. Similarly, Ruth Onyango. Ruth is editor-in-chief of the African Journal of Food, Agriculture, Nutrition, and Development. She's also winner of the 2017 Africa Food Prize. which is an amazing accomplishment. Ruth is a leader in food and agriculture research and journalism in Africa, but she's also a powerful public figure. She inspires and supports so many women in the field of agriculture, in the government in Kenya, and in her own home village where she's built a hospital. So I just wanted to start my remarks by mentioning the mentoring of these women. And here's a key recommendation I want to offer. Find these women in your networks. These are the leaders that inspire. These are also people that can inspire you to be mentors for other women. Get connected, stay connected. Women networking and supporting each other leads to better outcomes in the field, in every field. We know this is true. So the WIT Career Awardees are amazing, and they're going to play such the entire collection going to play such an important leadership and mentoring role for our next generation. Each of you has invested so much time and talent already. And honestly, the careers of young women leaders pave the way for all the students to come. We at the World Food Prize Foundation mentor thousands of students every year through our extensive youth programs, and we refer to leaders like all of you to inspire students to pursue rewarding and meaningful careers in agriculture. It's so critical to be building this pipeline. I just want to say this diverse cohort of winners is truly amazing from around the world. Really almost every continent, 5 continents. And they have such unique backgrounds and have had such unique pathways. The diversity of this group is so important for young people to see, so they can see themselves in the leadership. Next slide, please. So here I am at the World Food Prize Foundation. I just want to say that it was an interesting moment for me when I was I appeared before the board of the foundation, and I was asked to make a closing comment. And my challenge was, women are the future of agriculture. Do the right thing and put a woman at the center of the World Food Prize Foundation. I am so honored that they did exactly that. So here you see our staff. We are all working together to build on the very strong platform that was built by Norman Borlaug, the Ruan family here in Des Moines, Ambassador Kenneth Quinn for 20 years, and so many others, so many worldwide. And our goal at the World Food Prize is going to be to extend the impact that we've already had. I want to extend Norman Borlaug's mission by better serving the challenges that the global food security community is facing today. Here's our mission statement. Next slide, please. Elevating innovations and inspiring action to increase the quantity, quality, and availability of food for all. What a mission. We really want to use our platform to better support all those feeding the world, all of you. So we're going to continue to progress using cooperation and collaboration, open dialogue, debate, educating the youth, elevating the youth. We're going to continue these activities. These are core values to the organization. And honestly, when people work together, new paths are uncovered that would not have been discovered otherwise. So our hope is not only to increase our impact, but to potentially accelerate the impact of our work. Right now, we face so many challenges in agriculture and the food sectors due to COVID-19, but they were there before. And of course, in the face of this global pandemic, the weaknesses in our food system are really being exposed. I like to say they're actually magnified. Next slide, please. So what are we trying to do at the World Food Prize Foundation in that regard? Last week, we hosted the second in a series of digital dialogues on resilience in the food system. We were honored to have experts speak to the challenges faced by farmers around the world in markets, global and local programs that are being run by national governments, the challenges facing global organizations. Next slide, please. We had a wonderful panel, and we had 3 women and 2 men on our panel. With us was Agnes Kalabata, Louise Fresco, Purvi Mehta, These women, along with male leaders as well, offered sage, medium and long-term advice about building resistance in the food system, especially trying to do it in the face of crisis. So you can look at the recording if you'd like to. It's on our website. Here are the inspiring comments offered by these women leaders. Here's a couple from Agnes and Kirby. So we have to act now to address the weaknesses in the food system. This was the essential message of this group last week. Both the private sector, governments, multinationals, we have to address medium and long-term improvements now as we act in the face of crisis. As people have been saying, be careful about returning to what you don't want in striving to return to normal. So as we take up these issues and challenges facing our global food security, we have to especially address the weaknesses of the system for women. We've known about these for a long time, but they are also being magnified. Gender-related restrictions in agriculture are so prominent. Women's ability to innovate, get access to education, finance, these are the things we're talking about and know must be addressed. There's limits in physical mobility for women and limits to their social interactions they're allowed. All of this really hampers our ability to address the needs that are most needed in the food system. Next slide, please. So Norman Borlaug keeps us going. For the past 30 years, I've worked in public policy and often witnessed his mission being carried out decades after his call to action to provide technology, resources, and human capital that's needed to feed the world. Here you see Norman Borlaug in the field, and you see a few of our World Food Prize staff with him in his later years. Next slide, please. I had the opportunity to witness Norm's vision in action at the African Rural University for Women. Here in Africa, this is Uganda, women were learning leadership skills and improved farming practices in their townships and taking them back to their communities. It's an amazing program where agricultural specialists that are exclusively women are trained to create robust, sustainable futures for their families and communities. I'm truly energized by the next generation of leadership, those of you, all of you that are so eager to take up the mission of eliminating hunger. At the World Food Prize, we spend countless hours mentoring and empowering youth to pursue careers in agriculture and STEM professions. And it's just an absolute honor to do that. Next slide, please. So in closing, I just want to mention that soon we're going to honor another accomplished laureate, our 50th laureate, on the 50th anniversary of Norm's Nobel Peace Prize. On June 11th, you'll see there's an announcement for the official announcement of our 2020 laureate, who's a fantastic individual. We'll be featuring both the Secretaries of State and Agriculture in that webinar. So join us on June 11th. We're already taking applications for the 2021 candidate of the World Food Prize and for the 2020 Borlaug Field Award. So nominate your colleagues. Who knows who will be the next Norm, and as I like to say, or Norma. Sorry, Jeanie. In October, whether we're in person or online, we're going to host the Borlaug Dialogue and Global Youth Institute. So join us then for innovative formats, more diversity on stage, and deeper discussion. Thank you all again for the opportunity to speak today. And as always, be thankful for our own prosperity as we try to support feeding the world. Back to you, Maricelis.
Thanks so much, Barbara, for those inspiring words. And I'm so, so grateful that our paths have converged. You are a true inspiration as a woman, as a leader, and I look forward to many years of working in collaboration with you. Like I was commenting to you the other day, I'm so glad that our networks are here today together. because we are part of the same family. That legacy of Norman Borlaug that needs to continue, that is needed more than ever. So I'm really, really happy that you were able to join us today. I want to remind to the audience that we have a little bit of time for 1 or 2 questions. I'm not seeing anything right now in the chat, but I had a question when I was listening to you, and it has to do with the Sustainable Development Goal, goal number 2, the zero hunger. And as you see it, how our community, you think that we community can help right now to start reaching for that goal by 2030 of zero hunger? What would you recommend? What do you see as an opportunity for our community?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I was thinking about it as recognizing the awardees and preparing for this. Honestly, you know, wheat is a staple value chain. Wheat is a staple product, crucial for feeding the world. So the innovations in wheat production are crucial. There's no question that in order to feed the world, we have to increase agricultural productivity. We have to do it sustainably and addressing natural resource issues. We have to do it nutritionally. So all the work is actually critical to providing that base support in so many communities and really on every continent, as is represented by our awardees.
Yeah, and it's good that you mentioned that it really takes an entire community. So we cannot have the solutions of tomorrow with only half of the population or a third of the population, you know, thinking about it. We need to bring everybody on board, and that's where our diversity is so key. We have a question from another question from the audience. So Barbara, how do you think we can improve the communication between countries, politicians, and science in order to speed up adaptation of new technologies?
Well, communication is key. I come from a background of not only advancing communication and improving relationships between all of those parties that you mentioned, but by actually trying to build solutions together. So collaborative problem solving is fundamentally building platforms where people have to come together from government, industry, the local communities where all the experience and knowledge is, from the research and academic community, everyone together to tackle a particular problem. And you see so much progress. It takes more time. It's an investment in these relationships, but it's actually crucial for creating new and improved solutions that you really, honestly, I believe you wouldn't find otherwise. So how to do it? It's different in every country, but the principles of collaborative problem solving, I think, provide a wonderful roadmap for addressing so many challenging problems. I'd love to talk more about it.
Yeah, thanks for that. And that's really, really key, especially with the scientific community. A lot of times we tend to say, oh, you know, that's not my job. I wasn't trained on communicating, talking to politicians. I don't have the time for that. But as we know, we need to make it part of our job, because at the end of the day, we have the facts, we have like the technology, we have knowledge. There is so much misinformation. So if we don't take the lead on reaching out to our community, to our politicians, you know, so they trust us, so they know we are engaged, that we are not here in academia or in a research institution just plain scientists. We actually are looking at science from an applied way, and I think that's really, really key, getting everybody on board and communicating. And so it's something that I always encourage other scientists, you know, talk to your community, talk to your family, friends. What we're doing right now, reach out to our community. As we know, communicating in any form, even if it's talking 5 minutes here and there, a tweet, Facebook, reach out and be part of that solution, not only in our research labs, but also in the field and in communicating.
You know, I just follow on with that a little bit. I have so many references that I could offer to the power of connecting the scientific community with the policymaking community. For example, when we started the Partnership for Aflatoxin Control in Africa, we convened our first meeting. It was 200 people that showed up. and 150 were scientists, so research and science community. They had all of the knowledge, all of the background, et cetera, but the governments didn't have the information. So by the end, now that we convene twice a year, we convene everybody. We have 400 people, and it's all perspectives. And that's how we've been able to really build solutions in Africa on aflatoxin, is by bringing that information to the policymakers, the decision makers, in those at the critical touch points. And honestly, people don't realize how government entities want that information. They need the basis of all the research that you're doing in order to feed their good decisions. So we just have to set up the mechanisms to do it.
Thanks so much, Barbara. We're running out of time. We want to hear from our next session here. So stay tuned, everybody. We're going to move now into a wonderful panel discussion with our own Holly Tufan. Holly?
Sorry, everyone. I was trying to unmute as everybody else was trying to unmute me as well. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Holly Tufan. I'm the co-director for the Gender Responsive Researchers Equipped for Agricultural Transformation Program, which is jointly administered by Cornell and Makerere universities. Firstly, I'd like to thank the BGRI for inviting me to moderate this panel today. And it's a particular pleasure for me to be here today because, as Sarah mentioned, I had the good fortune of being amongst the first WIT awardees during my PhD. I have to admit, 10 years ago, my primary motivation for applying to WIT was to get travel funding to attend to the BGRI event in St. Petersburg that year. I didn't delve on why there would be a need for a Women in Triticum award. Like many, perhaps I thought, who cares if the person doing wheat research is a woman or a man? Now I spend every hour of my working day focused on gender issues in agriculture, research, and development. Why? Because as Barbara pointed out, who you are matters. Gender, age, ethnicity, and race can determine what a farmer has the right to access. Land, labor, inputs, information, credit, technology, and much, much more. Poor women and girls in particular face systematic challenges to owning and managing farms. But who you are also matters in wheat research. As much as gender influences the lives of farmers, it influences our lives as researchers. The institutions we work in are social spaces that still largely favor men. And that matters because there's a large body of evidence showing diverse teams of people perform better together. Why should wheat research be any different? Only by removing barriers for women, mentoring, supporting, and celebrating their contributions can we be more effective in our work. But women are not an amorphous group that think and act synchronously across the globe. This is one of the most exciting things about WIT. The awardees are so diverse. Hailing from vastly different places, backgrounds, and lived experiences, each of them brings a unique perspective, and with it, a potentially unique solution to challenges in wheat research. WIT awardees are the future of wheat research. Today, we'll hear from 4 previous WIT awardees to share their aspirations and visions for the future. I'd like to start with introductions, and I'll ask each panelist to introduce themselves, giving their name, institution they work for, and to tell us briefly what they're working on and what they're passionate about. Let's start with Sandra.
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me to this exciting panel and be part of this exciting event. First of all, congratulations to all the 2020 winners. So I'm Sandra Dunklo, I'm a Swiss Argentinian. I did my PhD with Jesse Poland at K-State, and I was a Monsanto Beetle Borlaug awardee. So I also had the opportunity to work quite a lot with and at CIMMYT. During that time, I focused mostly on wheat pre-breeding and the applications of genomic selection and how to move wilder material quickly into our pipelines. And so I did receive the Women in Triticum Award in 2013. Since then, I did finish up my PhD, did a quick postdoc, and afterwards I worked for 3 years with an Australian company, Longreach, as a biotech lead and wheat breeder. And now, since just barely over a year, I moved back to Europe and I'm with KWS. In my current role, I'm global head of breeding barley for KWS. did move away from my first love of wheat to barley, but barley's pretty cool too. Just a diploid that we have to deal with. Anyway, so my passions are new technologies and the applications in breeding programs, how to make breeding and breeding programs particularly more efficient and quicker so that we can produce better varieties and reach farmers quicker with our new material. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Sarah McNeil, please.
Hi, I'm Sarah. You may know me as Battenfield, but McNeil. Again, I want to congratulate the 2020 winners as well. Very excited for those women and especially what they will do in their career. When I received the WIT award was in 2014. I was working on my PhD at Kansas State University and also with the CIMMYT breeding program as well through the Monsanto Beecher Borlaug Scholarship along with Sandra. So my PhD training was with Alan Fritz and Ravi Singh's breeding groups on the applied breeding, and then also working with Jesse Poland to integrate genomic selection into those programs, and with Carlos Guzman specifying on the wheat quality aspects. In 2016, I started working with Syngenta as a hybrid wheat breeder for the Central Plains. Now since 2017, I've been the lead wheat breeder for the Central Plains region. So that covers the area of hard red winter wheat going from Texas to Montana. Quite a big span, basically all the way across the country, north to south. Currently, we are releasing varietal wheat. So two of my newest exciting varieties are SY Wolverine and AP Everrock. And then my program is working on the upcoming launch of hybrid wheat. Also, since 2018, I've been leading all the genetic projects for the North American wheat team, including marker-assisted selection, genomic selection. So basically doing anything we can to integrate the predictive and molecular techniques into the wheat breeding programs to make our programs run as efficiently as possible. I'm very passionate about hybrid wheat and what this brings to the farmers moving forward. It's really been amazing to see the breeding changes in the program over time. So when I came in, my predecessor told me that it's a lot like watching an ocean liner change in the ocean, that it's not a quick change and it takes time and years to really see things shift, focusing on male and female lines that are very good at hybrid production, seeing the different traits that are relevant to hybrid wheat. And it's really awesome to see what this is going to bring to our farmers, such as stability and tolerance to broader adaptation coming from the two parents. It's really neat to have a new and exciting technological challenge, and really look forward to the return on investment that our farmers will be able to get, making them more productive on their acreage as well.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Mercy, please.
Thank you, Hal, for this opportunity. And well, I say congratulations to all 2020 women in Trichicam Awardees and Dementia. I'm Mercy Wamala from Egerton University, Kenya. I work in the Department of Biological Sciences as a lecturer, and also do my research at Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, Anjora, with the scientists there. Currently, we are looking at the allele diversity of the East Africa genotypes for the alleles of economic importance with scientists from Ethiopia, and then from John Innes Center and International Livestock Research Institute here in Kenya. I'm passionate about getting more women in research. Being a lecturer or a teacher, I interact with many young students, mostly women, and I encourage them in getting in research in future when they are done with their studies, or as long when they are still continuing with their studies. And I'm also passionate about getting the research output to farmers. Like how can we be able to get what we have? We have the research, yes, but now how can they be able to access what we have come up with, like the results of our research? So I really like to see like we have a solution to this, and we make sure that the farmers have happily there when they have the right material for planting. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Mercy. And Sarah, please.
Thank you, Holly. First of all, thank you to the organizers, the BGRI organizers, for inviting me to be in this panel session. And also would like to congratulate the 2020 WIT awardees. So I'm Sarah from Tunisia. I'm 2017 WIT awardee. I'm currently research assistant at the Regional Feed Crop Research Center of Beja in Tunisia. I hold a PhD degree in plant pathology from the University of Wageningen in the Netherlands, where I essentially studied the genetics and genomics of Zymo-Septoria tritici, which causes the Septoria tritici leaf blotch disease of wheat. In Tunisia now, this disease is a major threat, causing important yield losses. And I was amazed at that time during my PhD how diverse and how plastic this fungus can be that can easily overcome host resistance or become resistant to fungicides. So in Tunisia, the far majority of the varieties are susceptible, and there is a continuous need to identify more resistant lines. And since 2015, I joined the CGR research program on wheat Septoria phenotyping platform, which is led by CIMIT in partnership with Tunisian institutions. And the main role, of course, is to effectively provide resistant durum wheat germplasm to a national program that can be used in crossing programs by durum wheat breeders as source of resistance to Septoria. It also acts as a hub for training and capacity development, and we are also more and more working with farmers to raise their awareness to integrated pest management approaches. So I'm passionate about science, but also about Septoria. I love pathogen genetics, genomics, also host pathogen interaction and sustainable agriculture. I really like to work in a diverse environment in terms of people, but also in terms of combining lab and field. And like to interact with students, but also bring a change and hope to bring a change to farmers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you all for sharing your visions or what is passionate for you right now. I'd like to move to some specific questions for our panelists. And we'll start with the first question directed at Mercy and then Sarah. How do you see your future in wheat research?
Thank you, Hal. When we were growing up, we used to have this special bread. We refer to it as chapati here in Kenya, and it was made of wheat. So, but it was only during special occasions. So I was wondering, why don't we have this special bread every now and then? But now I realize it's because of the challenges that are faced by the wheat farmers in able to have enough for the country and also to the world. So when doing my master's, I was able to be attached to this Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, whereby I was now taught on the science of wheat plant by the scientists there. And then I got interest and continue also to do my PhD, whereby I look at the some of the challenges that face wheat production, and I look at the fungal disease that is triprust. So during my training, I've acquired more skills and knowledge about the wheat research. So in future, I envision myself as a great scientist working together with other scientists globally, so that we can be able to come up with solutions to wheat production, such as solutions to biotic and abiotic factors. And then in this way, you can be able to have the right varieties to farmers and contribute to food security. And also, I'd also like because I teach at the university, to continue with the mentoring of young researchers or scientists, so that can get more of them to science, especially the women, because we usually have challenge with having many women scientists, mostly in Kenya, and I think also globally, we should have the same challenge. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercy. And Sarah, please.
Thank you, Holly. Yeah, it's a very, and I thank you for this question. I don't know if I have a really proper answer, but what I envision myself in the future is more, I see diverse an international research environment where I lead innovative and interdisciplinarity team targeting excellence and impact, where we seek solutions to face agricultural challenges, where I can contribute to make a positive change to students, but also to farmers. One thing that I would like to be is kind of a bridge builder between countries, so between the international and national universities, but also national and international students. Because in Tunisia, we have so much potential. It's untapped potential, and science needs to be reached everywhere in all countries. When I mean science here is more the facilities, the technology, the education. And one way, if you can improve the research and tackle really the problem, you have to improve also the education. And really, yes, we need to foster the students and staff, also exchange, build links, create larger networks that would certainly help to make better research that has an impact. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'll move on to the next question in the interest of time. We all face challenges at work, and as a successful young women wheat researcher, what is the one thing that has helped you overcome challenges that you faced? We'll start with Sandra, please.
Hi, thanks, Hal. So I would say there's multiple points. It's not just one thing that probably helped me the most. Besides having a good network and team, I would like to focus on mentors. So from my personal experience, I found that having especially female mentors that might be a little or a lot more advanced in their career, that has been very helpful for me, I must say. And I'm very lucky that I do have a female mentor that has been tremendously helpful. And I don't think that this person has to be necessarily in wheat or wheat breeding or not even maybe agriculture. I think it's just really good to get the perspective and the network opportunities as well, but also learn from the experience and the guidance from someone that has been walking through those steps before us. So that's been certainly something that helped me a lot.
Thank you, Sandra. Mercy?
Thank you, Hal. There are several challenges that usually face at research. One of it, especially for in Kenya, is work-life balance, mostly for women. You know, being a mother, being a you have to work doing research, maybe you are also a student, it's really challenging. And then also infrastructure, that is like, what do you want to have at the end of everything? I'm thinking about the farmer, like now, if I give up now, what will happen? And then, so this keeps me going to work hard and just to go beyond the challenges that we face and look for solution to this, because at the end of the it is like, I'm not the only one who's going to benefit. It's going to be the whole maybe country, and then also maybe the whole world, because now if we contribute to food security, is everyone going to benefit from that? So that one, like the looking at the outcome is what keeps me going when I face challenges. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercy. And Sarah McNeil, please.
The one thing that's really helped me overcome challenges is my team. So first, working within a team that has a clear goal. For us, that's to help farmers be more successful. And then to build and enable your team to be the best asset to themselves and for you. So that's mentoring, enabling, supporting, and building a strong team means that everyone is their own expert or the go-to on some given thing themselves. I can never have all the answers, but I know who I can go to within my team to help support that project and to be the lead and take off with whatever task it is.
Thank you. And with one final question. We're here to celebrate Women in Triticum Awardees and talk about the changing face of wheat research. Why do you think it's so important to have diversity in research teams? And we'll start with Sarah.
Thank you, Holly. I really foster the idea of diversity in research teams. So based on my own experience, I have worked and studied several years in a very international, multicultural environment, truly diverse in terms of nationalities, belief, gender, etc. And it had so many positive effects. So not only respect for different perspectives and worldviews, but also somehow it strengthened my ability to interact and network smoothly with people with different backgrounds. So to me, diversity is really a synonym of flexibility, of open-mindedness, of respect. And to me also, and I think also certainly leads to a better performance and cooperation. So as a scientist that we are working on a major staple crop, that our work is to protect it and to improve it, to ensure food security worldwide. So with the challenges that we are more and more facing, I think we need to think globally. So we need to be creative, innovative, efficient. We need to show also empathy in order to understand the problem in other countries, discuss with farmers. You have to understand their problem. You have to seek for solutions and finally outreach your message. And this is really, you can reach it, I think, in a more efficient way if you work in a diverse group. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah McNeil, please.
I think that people who are passionate to find a solution will. So each person's background helps spark their passion, their area of emphasis, and their view on the problem. I'm really fortunate to work here in the North America Wheat Syngenta group, where we are in a very diverse group. All of the lead wheat breeders in our programs, the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Plains, and the Central Plains, are females, including Yukiko Naraoka, who's one of the former WIT winners. We have people on the team since I've been here from Japan, Uruguay, Argentina, Australia, Ethiopia, and more, and bringing all those different thoughts, backgrounds, experiences to the table, whether that's gender or even your career path or background, and we've done work on personality types, really helps us find some innovative solutions that you have to come to the table knowing how to listen to all the people to get to that best solution.
Thank you. And Sandra, please, to close.
I guess there's just a few more things that I can add to the other two answers that we already heard. I think the way I see it is that the teams that we have are essentially the backbone of everything we do. And to have teams that work well together, I think it is really important that we recognize and that we also are happy that we have the different backgrounds and the different mindsets that we can come together and find creative solutions. And if we all think and are the same way, then that's not going to be particularly innovative or particularly interesting to work with. So I guess what I see in my own experience, I have teams in several countries, and they are all quite different in terms of their mentalities, how they, just based on country, where they're from, their cultures, and also the gender and age of the teams are quite different. And it's always really nice to see when we all come together how it's just a really great mix of people and mindsets. And we generally always walk out with really great ideas. And this is something that I believe makes teamwork so much better and will actually help us in advancing our mission.
Thank you so much. And I just want to thank you all again for joining this panel, sharing your experiences, great tips and ideas for all of you listening, and also your aspirations and visions for the future as the face of wheat. And I'd like to congratulate again our 2020 winners and hand back over to Maricelis. Thank you all.
Thank you, Holly, and thanks to all the great speakers for joining us today and sharing with us some of their thoughts. I look forward to working with you for the next 30, 40 years. I hope you have a wonderful career for those early career and mid-career scientists that are joining us today. In closing, we have seen how diseases, especially like in the case of wheat, have impacted food security of smallholder farmers and the community in general. We have seen famine in the past, and we know we're not out of that situation anytime soon. Through the Global Durable Roster System in Wheat and the Delivering Genetic Gain in Wheat projects, the BGRI has done much to introduce new, more disease-resistant and resilient varieties of wheat for the world's farmers. And these recent events that we're experiencing show us like the viruses, like the rust pathogens, do not respect international boundaries. So when we think about the future of wheat science, in fact, the future of the world, we know that it depends on great collaborative work, caring scientists, innovation, and enthusiastic researchers that put themselves out there every day thinking about how to solve the great challenges that we're facing. The future of wheat science also depends on diversity, as we have heard, and inclusion across various cultures, faith, gender, ages, and abilities. It's really obvious from our panel and our discussion today that is essential for success in wheat and in other areas of science. It also depends on collaboration and building partnerships across international boundaries, across institutions, disciplines, laboratories, and nurseries around the world. So in closing, I would like to take the opportunity to tell you about the next 2020 BGRI virtual workshops. We have one in June. There will be more details coming soon, but it will be a virtual Take It to the Farmer event, featuring videos and field tours from wheat farmers in the UK, Ethiopia, Bangladesh, with participation from Bill Angus, from Angus Wheat Consultation in the UK. We also have a farmer panel hosted by Theo de Jager of the World Farmers Organization. In October, we expect to hold the 2020 BGRI Technical Workshop in a virtual format with many of the keynote speakers and programs we have planned for the UK event before we had to postpone it. So stay tuned for more announcement on this event. Check your email from the Borlaug Global Rust Initiative. Check our website, our Facebook. You can follow us on the BGRI website, Facebook, and Twitter. So thank you all for attending. Sorry for the little bit of delay. It's our first event, so lots to learn, but it was a pleasure to be with you today. I hope you enjoy it. Take care, be well, and like Dr. Borlaug would say, keep up the good work. Thank you. Bye-bye.